Hello, friends. Welcome back to Great People interview series. Today, we have with us somebody who has been extremely successful, but at the same time, he's excited to share his secrets and the tips to make you successful. So, let me welcome Dave, who is a seasoned CEO, entrepreneur, and consultant with a track record across three startups and multiple successful exits. Welcome, Dave.
Thank you. Wonderful to be here, Sachin. It's a pleasure to be able to talk to you and some of your listeners. So, a quick snapshot of me. I'm a New Zealander. So, anybody sort of trying to work out the accent, that's what you're hearing. And I've been now in the UK in this stint for about 7.5 years. I came across to lead a legal tech business, which I've now exited, and I'm now doing business advisory work. Prior to that, I've done a lot of transformation work, including running a very successful football club in New Zealand and transforming that to be highly successful. And I found that the combination of sports and business is an area that I'm really fascinated by, and that there's a lot that I can bring in terms of learnings from each sphere. So I'm really excited about sharing some of that with you here today.
Wow, fantastic. Well, let's talk about, to begin with, your views on leadership.
Sure. Yeah. Look, leadership is changing, isn't it? It's I think ever more critical in businesses today because society is changing, and with that, leadership has to change. But the fundamental tenets of good leadership don't change. So my belief and my experience is that leadership is not just about painting by numbers and doing things that you might go on a leadership course and be taught how to do. It's as much about who you are. How are you acting? What is it that your core values are? What are your beliefs, and how are you with your authentic self managing and living and working within your business? Because if you can work to be authentic, to be natural, to be very honest and upfront, and you're being yourself, you're not playing a role, then instinctively people will warm to that. And my experience is that people will stick around and want to stay.
Yeah, so great. I think, leadership shapes culture, isn't it? And so, what do you believe are the qualities of a good leader who can build self motivated teams, build some culture? What is it
Sure.
that a leader needs to do?
Yeah, look, I think there's lots of different things, but the first word that comes to mind is be positive. You must be the positive energy in the room, always. And people will look to you. They will script off you. So 75% of what you do, they will do. And you've got to remember that. You've got to remember that they're looking to you not just for leadership in terms of the way that you hold yourself, the way that you work, the way that you behave, the values that you set, but the way in which you will go about working as well. So if you're collaborative, if you're upfront, if you're prepared to be accountable, if you're prepared to admit your mistakes, all of those things will stem from your leadership down into the organization. You take accountability, but you're not taking it yourself, then that becomes problematic, and you're going to get, in fact, a lack of accountability. So to me, culture starts at the top, and it really starts with the individual leader living and breathing their authentic selves, their values, and making sure that they are hiring people who are not just kind of ticking a box in terms of values on a sheet and saying, gosh, they're important, they'll put them away and put them in the drawer, but actually that's who they are. So look, leadership is absolutely critical. If you look at high performing organizations in any sphere, let's take football for an example. The best performing Premier League teams and football clubs have a high performance attitude.
Yeah.
And that filters down. And people script off that, and they look at that and they go, wow, look at how much I can learn. And then if you look at football clubs, people will come in and then they'll go off and they'll take that positive lessons that they've learned and they've seen and they've lived, and they'll go and replicate that elsewhere. So it has a ripple effect as well. And that's the impact of good leadership.
Yeah, and so if you could talk more about leadership in the context of your recent ventures, your company that you have obviously now, I won't say left behind, but probably you know grown to an extent where the self-managed is such a level, is that you have taken kind of a soft exit, and the entity and the company still runs on the same values and grows. So what are those ingredients, or what are those leadership tips that you have probably used in your recent companies?
Some of this is going to be sort of 101 stuff, so I'll just work through them quite quickly. You've got to hire the right people. And if you hire the right people, you've got to love them to death. That doesn't mean to say that they get everything, and it doesn't mean to say that it's a free ride, and it doesn't mean to say there's not accountability and expectations. But when you get good people, you set them free, you give them the space in which to be to own their own area of expertise and to deliver outcomes, and to give them the parameters within which to work. So trust is a big value and a big attribute that you need to have. But beyond kind of the 101 level stuff, you've got to really start looking at understanding what performance is. What is high performance? What's exceptional performance? And many organizations don't actually take the time to map that out. And that then leads to problems, because you get this misunderstanding all the way through from board level, from C level, all the way through mid-management. Well, actually, what is performance? Because you might have different versions of what that looks like, or you might get changing goalposts. If actually there is clarity around what performance is, and that filters all the way through down to the individual, and they understand, hey, this is your role, this is what you need to deliver. But we're giving you the space and the time and the parameters within which to deliver these. But if you're outside of the parameters, then we need to have a conversation. But if you're delivering, then we trust you to go and do good things. So high performance, I think, is really understanding that and at a very detailed level, take the time to work that through. We introduced a 4-day week at Arkin, and to do that, you need to understand what performance is. And that's a really positive kind of a process to work your way through. I mentioned kind of loving your people, and that means genuinely having an interest in your people. It's not just, hey, you're somebody who works for them. They are a person. They are somebody who matters. You need to take an interest. I used to make a real effort to remember spouses' names, kids' names, events, things that happen, and to make myself available to get around and to see all my staff. Again, that's quite low level stuff, but the profound impact of that is really significant, because people feel connected, they feel heard, they feel seen, and so that's something else that I forget. Well, there's a lot of talk about well-being these days. And when we think about well-being, well, what is that? To me, it's making sure that you're creating an environment where people feel safe, where people feel valued, where people feel encouraged and motivated, and that all those things come through from leadership, but also in the systems that you put in place in the business. Happy teams are high-performing teams, and you see that time and time again in sport and in business. Happy teams and high-performing teams are those that stick around. So they have very high retention metrics. Again, I'm just going to use football analogy. Football players come and go from a team, but you will find that there is a core of people who stick around, and
Yes.
that people call them lifers, and it's much the same in business. You need that core of people who will stick with you, who are intrinsically motivated and And I'm going to talk about purpose just a little bit here, Sachin, because those people who are utterly, completely connected with the purpose of the organization and that it matters to them, that is their driving force. They feel that is something that they have ownership of and that they want to deliver. That can have a really significant effect. And you've got to, as a leader, make sure that at every level that people feel connected to that purpose. And look, let's be honest, not everybody will. Some people see employment as a transaction. It's turn up to work, get paid kind of a thing. But coming back to that core of people, making sure that you've got the vast majority of people who feel very, very connected and people at the end of that.
Absolutely, absolutely wonderful. I think I'm jumping here, and because I think one of your core strengths is go-to-market strategy and growth of an organization. So you have grown, these 2, 3 organizations from nowhere to very decent levels. So just wanted to understand, what is it that you did? What is that magic that you did to grow these companies? And I'm talking about, an open question where how do we go about growing the company? And I'm talking about numbers, I'm talking about the profits.
Yeah. So it's a great question. Thank you. So if you look at that, there's some commonalities through everything that I've done in any organization, whether it be business or even indeed in football, because the football club I grew massively. And the way that I've done that is to, first of all, be super, super clear about who your customer is. Now, everybody talks about buyer personas and they talk about, this is Bob from the golf club and it looks like this. What we're talking about here, particularly in SaaS businesses but in any business where you've got a product or a service, is you've got to understand at a very, very, very detailed level who your customer is. What are the problems? What are their aspirations? What are some of the things that you can help them with as an outcome of that? Once you've got that base level understanding and you start to then work through the customer segmentation exercise, you start to understand price points, you start to understand the dynamics operationally of your business. And I'll use an example here. In the most recent business that I was in, we had a pyramid of clients where the vast majority of clients at the lower level had a very poor average revenue per account, very poor. And yet the clients at the very top of the pyramid, who made up the vast majority of the revenue, had a decent average revenue per account or ARPA. And so, of course, the strategy was, well, let's get more at the top of the pyramid. So let's be very clear about the segmentation. Let's get less of the clients at the bottom end of the pyramid because they've got a poor ARPA and a high kind of maintenance cost, and let's just think about how to do that. So revenue is really critical. Obviously, you've got to grow, but if you don't have a product market fit, if you don't have a intrinsic understanding of your client, then you're going to have to put a heck of a lot more into sales and marketing because you're effectively trying to drive your product or service, your solution into a marketplace that's not ready for you because you're not actually solving their problem. Now, you're not going to solve everybody's problem. So then it's really critical in terms of your segmentation to understand, okay, these are the customers that we're really focusing on because our solution fits best with them. If you've got an existing solution, if you're a startup, you're going to say, and this is the great thing about a startup, hey, this is the problem I'm solving. This is what I'm going to go out and do. I'm going to do that because I see that these clients are this massive problem that's valued like this. Therefore, the solution I can put in place is going to put over that X. But beyond that, you've really got to find good people. I keep coming back to this. So, a fantastic couple of salespeople are worth their weight in gold. Think about the structure of a team. You will always find, in my experience, in any industry sector, that you will have your top performer, and they will make up a much larger share of the revenue than will have some average performers in there. So the trick, obviously, is to make sure that you get as many top performers as you can, overpay them, love them to death, give them space, and work with them. So as a leader, be out there doing customer calls. Understand yourself so that you're not getting messages through the kind of different layers of management exactly what that client might be saying. Because of course your ears are different. You're a CEO. You're talking to a CEO. You're having a CEO level conversation. It's not the way that a CEO will talk to perhaps an account manager. So be close to the customer, understand them at your C level. I think marketing these days is really, really super critical. You know, the days of cold calling and beating up the phone. I'm not saying that that's dead, but these days the complexity of marketing is and the available solutions to you are fantastic. It's actually about which ones you don't do within the contracted budget. So lead generation and making sure that you've got the systems in place in and around that. These days, with CRM systems and AI and what have you, you can automate a lot of your cadences. To do that, you've got to make sure across your enterprise, particularly if you're working with in a capital constrained situation, that you're as efficient as you possibly can be, and that there's never more kind of case for that than in the go-to-market strategy, because you need to make sure that your salespeople aren't wasting time on people who aren't actually going to buy, but they might buy in 12 months. And so you need to make sure that you're automating that kind of contact. So that's kind of a quick whistle-stop view of it. Obviously, there's a lot of complexities in go-to-market strategies, a lot of complexities in terms of product build. It's a minefield. I see so many organizations that screw that bit up, did it wrong, and that's what I'm trying to help with doing what I'm doing. But
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to come to that because I think it's easier said than done. Because yes, you want to know your audience, you want to probably nail down what problem you're solving. But
yes,
it's good to say that. But then what I have now thought, is that really my audience? And what I'm thinking is, oh, this is the problem I'm solving for them. Are you really solving that problem? Is it that
right,
pressing? Right now, when you start thinking about that, then you're saying, okay, well, there's a tick in the box. I got my audience started. Tick in the box. Yes, I have decided that this is the problem I'm solving. But, and there's that big but, and that's where, there's a fine line between success and failure, because how I got it right, how I got my outcome right, how I got my solution right, my audience right. And that's where I think the advisory comes into picture. And thankfully, having done a lot in business yourself, now you've taken an advisory role where you're advising small medium businesses on how to do things and how to get well, basically to be successful. So that's probably my final question. Would you just elaborate what exactly you are taking on as advisory assignments, and how you plan to help businesses?
yeah, cool. It's pretty widespread. But I've done a lot in the different years and different organizations, rescue and rescue much more growth orientated questions. So organizations who are looking to scale, I can very definitely add some expertise there. Organizations that are looking to create a product, I think, when people are perhaps delivering a service, it's transactional revenue streams are there or not there, and they want to create some recurring revenue streams. They want to do that through product or just through perhaps changing their revenue model. That's something that I'm finding a lot of. Obviously, AI is a big thing. I think, again, it's a minefield, it's a buzzword. There's a lot of people out there talking about AI and whether it's appropriate or not, what you invest in, what don't you invest in. There's a lot of conversations and projects that are going in and around that. Some of it is financial health. So looking at the P&L, what happens in organizations often when you've been going, say, 3, 4, 5 years, things become a little bloated. They become less focused on the things that they should be spending money on, and fresh eyes can help with that process.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's people and culture. its purpose. It's saying to organizations at a strategic level, hey, gosh, you know, if, as an outcome of or the manifestation of it is you tend to foster the way we grow sport. Let's go back to basics and say, right, well, why are you actually here? Why, Mr. Founder or Mrs. Founder? Why are you here? What do you want? Because it's easy to lose that, right? After
Yeah.
2 years. How can I help you reconnect with your purpose and instill that purpose in the organization? So there's a lot of that, and really bringing people together. So how can I come in as an outside person and say, okay, gosh, you know, there's perhaps some problems here, particularly when you look at private capital businesses. They sometimes have a lot of problems at stakeholder level, you know, expectations and C-level, and then staff, and a lot of change, a lot of turmoil, a lot of cultural change. So I'm assisting with organizations too. Yeah.
Wow, fantastic. Well, it was really great talking to you. Thank you so much for lots of knowledge bites that you shared. And I'm sure the audience will probably reach out to you, probably through us or through LinkedIn, for more advices and probably getting a snapshot of your experience, and probably get their companies to be as successful as yours. Once again, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Sachin. It's been an absolute pleasure.